Let's do this.
That's right. Kings of MMA knowledge and the Kings of the tier list.
Yep.
Back again, combining the two for the most orgasmic video you've ever seen.
2022 UFC pay-per-views.
What a great year
Great year. Was
for MMA.
really good for the majority of it. Not just pay-per-views, but like, I don't know, we had a few good fight nights, but...
Well, I was going to say a few injury-ridden fight nights.
Well, yeah, but there were a few
events.
good ones too, but we'll be focusing on the pay-per-views today because...
That's where the big bucks are made.
That's where it all
How
happens.
much are they paying now? Like $80 per pay-per-view?
Oh, it just...
Didn't they say it's going to cost like $1,000 plus to be an MMA fan for a year?
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous.
I can't even imagine like the amount of shit cards I've watched over the time. Like, imagine just $80 having to pay that
every time.
That's
Thank
bad.
God for the Kensington. But we've got our typical tier lists, but we spiced them up a little bit today, so I shouldn't really say typical. At the top, we still got God tier because it's God tier.
Just has to be.
We got Helwani 10-7. You're not bad. I'm not impressed by your performance. And then the lowest of the low, the scum of the earth, the Doug Crosby scorecard,
which has become pretty prominent as of recent times, and I think this year in particular has been pretty awful.
I've worked with some special needs people, and I feel like they would be more qualified to judge than Doug Crosby.
I just don't know how they constantly get it wrong. Really, it's like it's not even just him. It's just so many of them. They just. You'd think they're watching an entirely different fight, but...
They probably are.
Anyway.
But yeah, let's get straight into it.
We'll start off...
UFC 270, I believe, it kicked off the year with.
And Garner vs. Garn.
Yes.
They're not in order on that list, but we'll just be doing them as they actually happened.
Yeah.
So, main event, obviously, we had Francis and Garner vs. Cyril Garn for the heavyweight championship.
Bit spicy, that fight.
Co-main event, Davison Figueiredo defeating Brandon Moreno in their third fight. Michel Pereira versus Andre Fialho. These names are going to get me.
Yep.
Syed Nurmagomedov defeated Cody Stamen by guillotine, and Mike Morales defeated Trevin Giles by first round TKO.
Good main card. Anything notable on the prelims?
Not really. There's not really anything to bring up on the prelims. And I don't know, I just feel like I don't even want to go into this anymore. I think it's just average.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of fight quality as well.
Do we be a bit more brutal on it and put it like, I'm not impressed by performance? Because, I mean, like...
Honestly...
I'll say it again. I still think Cyril Garn, and I know I'm not alone, I still think Cyril Garn won that fight.
It's possessed. Something coming
right in front of the goat.
For that wrong take.
That is the correct take. But
I don't even care about that.
I think I'm not impressed by your performance. I think
honestly, like, now that you've actually said that... Because I feel like when a card's just like, oh yeah, whatever, I'm just like, I'm instantly putting it, and you're not bad. But honestly, if I was actually looking at it, there's probably nothing on this sort of really even go back and rewatch.
Like if they were putting highlights of 2022 MMA, nothing from this fight. Maybe a takedown from Francis.
I know people love the Davison versus Moreno fights, but I just don't really.
I'm kind of over them,
They're good fights, but I'm just so...
I'd rather go and watch Davison versus Joseph Benavidez all over again.
Exactly. And it's not like they're spread out, like they were so close together, and it's just too much. It's just too much. And we're getting another one soon.
Yeah.
So far, I'm perfectly fine with that being there. We're going to the next pay-per-view now, so that will be at UFC 271.
Correct. Good math.
I
think it's Whittaker versus...
I shouldn't have done this with my phone,
Adesanya.
but it is Adesanya versus Whittaker too.
Mm-hmm. Bit more controversial. I think we both think that Whittaker probably won this.
Yeah. Israel Adesanya did defeat Robert Whittaker 48-47 on two scorecards and a 49-46 on one of the scorecards.
Honestly, scorecards are infecting UFC 4 as well. I've had some proper dodgy ones. I won a decision the other day that was 49-46, 49-46, and then the other way round.
Yeah.
I think it was 50-45.
No, UFC 4 is awful. The only game that had decent-ish scorecards was UFC 3, because UFC 2...
You could not win a decision.
UFC 2 is probably worse than 4, honestly.
It's not like what the thing about 4 is that it's so random. The thing with 2 is that you just had no chance of winning if you went to the scorecards.
And well,
it's getting completely off topic.
Just whatever. But yeah,
back to the UFC 271.
Yeah, I saw the verdict for this the other day, and I was actually surprised to remember that Whittaker won on verdicts, won the rounds.
I don't think that's surprising. I think that most knowledgeable people use verdict.
Yeah.
And it should almost...
Well, occasionally.
Us. Yeah.
But, I just remember everyone being like, oh, no, yeah, Adesanya won. What have people been saying? That it was whatever.
I feel like
Adesanya, it's just the way he fights. and just a commentary combination. Like, it just makes you think he's winning.
100%.
Especially, like, I remember in this fight, I think this was the one where Bisping was getting absolutely slammed because he'd gone after Rogan and all them, I think DC, when there was Blachowicz versus Adesanya, and they were just jerking off Adesanya to the max, and then he was doing the same for this, just saying how good Adesanya was.
Because he hates Whittaker.
And everyone's just like, yeah, you're literally... Oh, is there something about Adesanya? I don't know, people just, like... think he's 10-8ing people when he just throws feints. But anyway, whatever, controversial main event, maybe not
tell
really.
Us the rest.
But the rest of the card is actually quite mean. Co-main event where Tai Tuivasa is defeating Derek Lewis by knockout.
This was Brunson versus Cannonier as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
because I just remember the 2 elbows.
Yeah. Following, so that Tai Tuivasa versus Derek Lewis, I remember thinking, that was I feel like I underestimated Tuivasa a little bit in that fight. Like, I thought just going into those brawls, because he did actually get hit with quite a few big shots, and I'd be thinking that Lewis was putting him down off those, but he just ate them and elbowed him and finished him. Brutal fashion.
I don't like either of those people.
Got him a title shot.
Yeah.
And then Jared Cannonier defeated Derek Brunson. I was thinking about this fight the other day. I honestly reckon this was one of the most underrated fights of the year that people didn't bring up. I just remember watching it live and actually, because like so much, this was basically a number 1 contender fight, and Brunson had been on a tear as Blonde Brunson.
He was on like a 4-fight win streak, wasn't he? 3 or 4?
Yeah. And then, and I remember in the first round, he actually, because I was thinking, I just feel like Brunson's probably going to get knocked out cold. And then, in the first round, I remember, like, I don't know how much he even rocks Jared, but like, it was like
did well.
It was like a knockdown in air quotes, but like, I don't know if he slipped or got dropped, but like, it actually made like Brunson looking real good in the first round.
Yep.
Second round, he just got rocked and couldn't recover as he usually does.
And then the brutal elbows. It was so good.
Yeah, it was
that
great.
Was Curtis Blades versus Overeem mess.
Yeah.
Do you remember just the gash opens on his head?
And then we had Moicano choking out Hernandez. You love to see it. Yeah. Alexander Hernandez, that is. And then Bobby Green defeating Nasrat by decision. I think that was a pretty good performance by him there.
Yeah, which earned him the number 1 contender fight.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there's a few notable names going down the rest of the card, but like that's like basically where it's most prominent. I think this is actually...
It's a Helwani 10-7, I reckon.
Yeah. I feel like if that main event was a bit better...
Well, it's not even that it was bad.
No.
It was just like, maybe if it was like more slanging and banging.
Well, it was just Adesanya, I don't know. Especially after knocking Whittaker out so easily in that first fight, I'm just like...
But he definitely switched up his styles from being a contender to a champion. He became
the point fighter, which is like, I mean...
From prize fighter to point fighter.
Make of that what you will. I personally want blood. Next off, we got one of my favourite cards, UFC 272.
It should just go God tier for the main event.
Oh, it really should. We got Covington defeating Jorge Masvidal. Somehow Masvidal got one of the rounds by one of the judges. I do not know.
It'd be Doug Crosby, 100% Doug Crosby. I would love to know who actually was the judge for that.
I remember...
It must have been the one where he rocked him. Even though the rest...
It wasn't, though. It wasn't. I remember what it was. It was round 2. There's an exchange where Colby so clearly slips over, and people were saying it was a knockdown, even though Masvidal doesn't even throw a punch. Because I rewatch this fight almost daily.
I might go rewatch this tonight,
I watch it pretty much every day.
Man.
Like, this should have been I think live I had it like 50-43. Like,
I think I had this, like, if I went back to my friggin' verdict, I think I would probably have it the same, eh?
And it was just so satisfying because I just love Colby. He's just so entertaining. Like, he just is the funniest trash talk.
It's just Masvidal thinking he was top shit after...
there was fame going to the head. There was probably more fame going to the head than Conor. Like, at least Conor would still actually compete and win, mostly. Until,
it's just embarrassing, I reckon.
Yeah.
For George.
And we've seen he's just... the fact he could almost actually get a title shot, though, after this is absolutely criminal. But, I mean,
I really hope that doesn't happen, eh?
And then Moicano going back to back, unfortunately for him, catch weight against RDA.
Yeah, he got fucked up.
Like,
so
could have probably just been
bad.
stopped about 50 times. I remember him just like out on his feet for like the majority of it. That was bad.
I had this 50-42 for Colby.
Bro, yeah, but it could have been.
I just want to check the verdict.
Yeah,
50-45 all round.
Yeah, domination.
Yeah, you had it as a 50-43.
And then we had another dominating... Like, this was all, like, the wrestle fucks. Good. Like, it was Bryce Mitchell dominating Edson Barboza.
But he kind of did well on the feet as well, that.
Did he?
I think this is another Helwani 10-7.
I mean, we did have Holland. I think this was his welterweight debut, defeating Cabo Oliveira
and Sergey
Spivak. You always love to see Greg Hardy getting stopped.
Jalen Turner got fucked. He fucked up Jamie Malaki. And I hate every Aussie fighter. I'm putting this in Helwani 10-7.
Yeah,
I'm putting
definitely.
it above Whittaker. I think all round this card.
Easily. Well, that main event was one of my fights of the year for sure. I've never been more satisfied in my life.
Yeah,
really,
100%.
Maybe when Bryce Mitchell lost to.
Yeah, that was very good.
We'll get to. But next up, we have UFC 273, which is Volkanovski versus Korean Zombie. A complete mismatch.
I feel like this is Helwani 10-7 again.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that main event was just domination.
Yeah. I mean, if you love watching little Asian men just get absolutely beaten down.
Yeah.
Within an inch of their life, I don't know if he'll ever fight again after this.
Man, and then the co-main event, Aljo versus Petr Yan 2.
Controversial decision, of course. But I feel like one thing you can say is that Aljamain did way better. Everyone just still was getting knocked out.
It was just because he got fucked up so bad in the first fight, I think.
He didn't eat, there were stages he did, but I feel like he gets not enough credit.
He wasn't looking as, I guess in hindsight, people will look at the two performances and go, well, compare the two, he kind of got...
It was almost like, did you watch Rob Font versus Cheeto? It was basically Rob with pillow hands, but landing
and Cheeto would hit something at the end of the round.
He'd be so up on volume, but Cheetos just has so much more power. Yeah. It was a bit like that kind of, but then on top of that, you've got Aljamain shooting for 20 takedowns and getting thrown off.
Yeah, he didn't have as much success.
Tripping him and making him kind of look like an amateur.
Yeah.
But,
I had that for Petr Yan, that fight.
I think I had a draw.
That would probably make sense.
But I mean, it was close.
And overall on verdict, it was 47.26 to 47.15.
Yeah.
So
it was close. And
close.
I just wanted Aljamain to win because I like watching the MMA world burn. I love everyone just so mad all the time.
Oh my god.
It's so good.
I'm looking at the fight before that. Hamza versus Gilbert.
I was about to just get on to that.
Clear 29-28.
Yeah,
but for some reason, it was so much. People thought it was so much closer than it actually was.
This is what I mean. I think this is why Aljamain had to win the next fight for me, just so I could watch all those same people cry on their keyboards.
Yeah.
Because, this was the most... I've rewatched this fight probably about 30 times. That's all I do.
Just clear as day.
Just watch UFC fights over and over. Just watching it live, I was like, fuck, what a mean fight. Gilbert, credit to him, I thought he was getting knocked out in the first round. And not just really...
And he did win round 2. There's no denying that.
But Hamza, easy round 1, dropped him, took him down. Round 2, Gilbert, Hamza probably should have... anyone else probably was going to be knocked out off the hit he got, that punch he got out with. So that was round 2 for Gilbert. And then round 3, it was literally I just don't understand.
I swear Gilbert did one little flurry.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh!
There was a 10-second thing where he landed 3 overhands in a row and the crowd got real hyped. But the thing was, they got so hyped because about 5 seconds before that he was almost getting knocked out against the cage.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
We said it in our last, because we haven't recorded this before, but it was shit. We did say this last time. It's the thing where people expect someone to do so much worse that it distracts or distorts their perception of how the fight actually went.
Well, I feel like the thing that discredits every idiot that talks about MMA is that people thought Hamzat was exposed from this fight.
Yeah.
He
literally beat the number... Gilbert must have been 2 ranked.
He's 2 or 3.
Yeah.
It's those are the same people thinking that Gilbert won this fight.
Yeah.
So I just try not to pay attention, but unfortunately...
The rest of the card was pretty average.
Ian Gary, my favourite fight.
But that was the fight where he did fucking nothing.
Bro, you mean every fight?
No, he did, he's got finishes and stuff, though.
Remember when he came in and everyone was like, it's the next corner? You don't even hear about him now.
This was the second fight that he had, I think.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this in Helwani 10-7.
I don't think it's going to be Helwani.
Really?
No.
I think the 3 main events... kind of prompted up.
I don't know, because I reckon that Hamzat Gilbert,
being a bit more harsh.
It should be middle.
Yeah, no, okay.
Just because I reckon that Hamzat Gilbert fight was mean, but then Aljamain...
Petr Yan was very technical, I think.
The main event was just dominance, and then that co-main was kind of just
like you said, if you like seeing little Asian men get beat up, and I happen to love that, so...
But then apart from that, there was just... Raquel Pennington defeated Aspen Ladd on the prelims.
That's the problem. The rest of the card was fucking dead.
But, it wasn't a bad card, I just feel like it's mid. I just don't think it's as good as those other 2 quite.
Yeah. Okay, we'll settle for middle.
And like you said, we're trying to be... We just don't want everything in the same tier.
Yeah, because last time we had literally everything in the top, like, 2 and 3.
Which, maybe that's just, I don't know. We'll see how we go this time.
Yeah.
UFC 274, Oliveira versus Gaethje. This was a pretty decent card, I think.
Apart from the co-main.
No, what do you mean? It's my favourite fight of all time.
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. Like, everything was, it was a good card.
And then that was
and it was
best.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually broke a table during this fight because it made me so hard. It just went right through.
Yeah.
This fight was incredible. But no, Charles Oliveira submitted Justin Gaethje. It was so satisfying.
Basically the same as every Charles fight. I'm getting dropped and then just winning.
Exactly. Except the Islam fight.
You love to see it.
Yeah, exactly.
That co-main event. I think this is the worst fight in the history of the UFC.
Oh, like Ramiro Adesanya does
worse. Yeah, but like you'd rather see them in the cage than Carla and Rose.
But I think that has more. You go into a Carla and Rose fight expecting duds. You don't go into a Yoel versus Izzy fight expecting duds.
You're actually right there because this was the exact type of fight I expected.
I don't think anyone was surprised, and you could hear that in commentary. Yeah, everybody just knew that this fight was going to be shit.
Well, Esparza, like, the most just irrelevant. Like, somehow she gets championship belts. I don't know how it happens. And then Rose Namajunas, I'm just not a fan. I
fucking hate her so much.
A fan.
The Rose! I fucking hate that. Pat Barry molested Rose Namajunas, and I will die on that hill. He's a groomer.
It's so clearly.
Yeah. And he abuses her.
Well, you can see that, like, you watched that interview where Ariel was interviewing, like...
And he kept like interrupting himself.
Whenever the dumbest part about it was like after this fight, and for some reason he was interviewing Pat instead of Rose, which tells me
because Pat was in the corner giving the awful advice.
Because it's just Pat not letting Rose speak, and then every time she tried to talk up, it'll be her getting it's just fully.
And just as soon as the cameras go off, it's elbow to the head. It's Czech Congo versus Pat Barry 2.0.
Yeah.
Except it's just knockouts.
Yeah.
And then we had the incredible Chandler versus Ferguson fight.
Yeah.
Well, not fight, but knockout.
Well, yeah, one of the knockouts of the year for sure. How did Tony not retire after this, really? Is just all I want to know. You've been dominated. Like, we'll go back to the start of his losing streak. That fight against Gaethje, I think, took 30 years off his life, honestly. He's never been the same. Obviously, he got destroyed. And then ragdolled by Charles and Beneil, and then knocked out cold in one of the most brutal ways I've ever seen.
And then finished
submitted by an old-ass Nate.
Not even just by any Nate Diaz.
So he's been lost by getting outclassed on the feet, lost by getting dominated in grappling, lost by getting knocked out cold, and lost by getting he's lost in every way imaginable.
Yeah.
What more do you need?
You know what the saddest thing is? What? I think people kind of accept that he's like the only person Paddy Pimblett would beat. I've seen a lot of people be like, "Oh, who could Paddy face next?" And it would be like, I feel like everyone else beats him, but maybe Tony puts up like a decent fight.
Surely he's not that bad, is he?
I think he is.
Is he? He looked real bad in that Nate fight, but I don't know if that's just because he was at welterweight or what it was.
But he was meant to be going up to welterweight anyway. He was fighting at that weight regardless. But yeah, the rest of this card was pretty average. We had 3 decisions. Francisco Trinaldo defeated Danny Roberts, Randy Brown defeated Chaos Williams, and OSP, Oven St. Preux, defeated Mauricio.
Matt Schnell got choked out.
Was that on prelims?
Choked out by Brandon Royval.
That wasn't cocaine.
No,
Matt Schnell lost that fight, didn't he? The one where was tapping his feet. Yeah.
I think this is actually, I'm not impressed by your performance.
Well,
it has one of the worst fights maybe of all time on it.
It's just that main event.
Honestly, that OSP Shogun fight is also. Did you watch that?
Yeah, it was
so bad.
Yeah.
It was Shogun looking like he's 58.
And still getting more fights.
It was just, nothing on this was really that good.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Those finishes on the main.
That fight's going in.
We're being harsh today. We're not pulling back any punches.
That main event was so satisfying, though.
Yeah.
On to UFC 275.
Teixeira versus Prochazka. A lot of people's fight of the year.
Fucking incredible.
Fight
Look at it. I had Glover by decision, and it would have won me. Would have won me 4,000 XP.
Fuck, that was actually heaps.
And I was 30 seconds away.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fight IQ went out the window, but honestly, it was all the better for it. Sometimes you just love watching fighters. Instead of just trying to be so technical, they're just we're actually just going to get into a brawl. And I think Yuri definitely brings that out of people.
There was just lots of everything in this fight. Yeah. There was grappling. There was submission attempts. Like, I feel like Yuri almost submitted Glover a few times.
Yuri did so much better than the grappling than I expected, because we hadn't seen much of his grappling.
Glover did so much better on the feet than I expected.
Yeah, like, it was kind of like the other, opposite, of what you'd think was going to happen, because I thought, like, Glover, he's been knocked out a few times, and then Yuri
was facing this steroid-ridden monster.
Unrelenting force of just elbows and knees. Like,
do you reckon Yuri is on drugs?
Probably. Like, and he's been tested so many more times than everybody else.
I think it was 61 times in a year.
Why?
That is more than once a week.
Connor's not even tested, and he's
but
like
I think people have given up on him.
Yeah, they're just. I think. Do you reckon that's like the UFC just letting him, like, they want him back healthy and good?
Why do they do the same to Dillashaw? Probably. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I think there's a lot of controversy surrounding Yuri on drugs.
And then we had Shevchenko versus Tyler Santos. I think this is another occasion.
A lot closer.
It was a close fight, but I think it was another one of those occasions where people thought that the contender, they got a bit lost on the hype of, because people were like, yeah, who even is this?
Oh my God.
I don't even remember.
Verdict had this 47.6 to 47.4.
Yeah.
You had it 49-46.
To Shevchenko.
Yeah, and I had it 50-45.
Yeah.
But I could understand how you could have given one of those rounds to Talia Santos.
Yeah.
And now Talia Santos is fighting...
Do you want me to click on her? Click on her name.
The bitch that just beat Molly. Meathead Molly. What's her name?
Erin Blanchard. Fuck, that could actually be like...
That's a number one contender fight.
Could be
a lot of people were saying
23.
that... I know. A lot of people were saying that Talia Santos should have just got the rematch, but...
No.
No.
I think people say that at the time, and then like 1 week later, no one's even spoken her name again.
Yeah.
So I think that's just...
We also had Weili Zhang defeating Joanna by the spinning back fist. That was very satisfying.
That was real good.
Joanna's last fight.
I was kind of hoping we'd get a fight like the first one, but I mean, getting a highlight reel knockouts, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
It's good. Jake Matthews, Andre, knockout.
I fucking hate Jake Matthews with a passion.
Pretty good performance though.
Don't give a shit. Jack Madalena.
I don't even know who that is.
Madalena.
Yeah.
You
know who that is?
No, you do. You will.
Oh, he's Australian.
That's why I don't like him. Same with Jack Matthews, but they both got TKOs. It's an alright card. I think you're not bad. Like, apart from the main event, there was nothing really too special.
I mean, that KO was good.
But I mean, it was like a round 1 KO, wasn't it? No, round 2.
Round 2, but I mean, we got finishes and then that fight going... Yeah, I'd say this was an alright card. I'd say you're not bad.
Yeah. What do we have next?
We have...
276. 276, is that right?
Adesanya Cannonier. That main event puts me to sleep as I speak it, but we'll look at the rest of the card. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, no, this... Oh... This is a pretty good one.
No, this is a Helwani 10-7 straight away.
We have got a few good names.
Fuck. Yeah, this is Helwani 10-7. This is the best card of the year so far, I think. If you get rid of the main event, you have Volk smashing Holloway 50-45.
I feel like this card did oh, no, actually, as I say.
And then you had Pereira defeating Strickland by sweet left hook.
Honestly, I reckon this fight, that doesn't get, like, obviously, like, Leon Ursula's probably, like, KO of the year, like, easily.
Oh, fuck,
not even probably, just definitely is. But, like, I feel like that should be...
I don't know, that front kick on Tony was...
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I loved that.
Oh, yeah. I think it's because of our dislike for Sean Strickland as well, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. To be fair, though, Sean Strickland and that press conference leading up to this was fucking hilarious.
But it was because he was going to Izzy, who we dislike more than Sean Strickland.
That's like the only like everything else he ever does, I'm like, yeah, you need to be locked up.
Like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Probably.
I literally saw a post before, and it was like, Colby Covington is what happens when you hug your kid once, and then Sean Strickland is what happens when you never hug your kid at all.
Like, the difference is Colby knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
But I mean, did we talk about the main event, or were we saving?
We kind of skipped over that.
I mean, like, there's nothing to say.
Not really much to talk about. Point, like I said.
Thought it was I feel like Jared... What did I have it on verdict? I feel like I might have given Jared 2 rounds.
Mine combines yours and Tooth, so...
Oh, yeah, and he always gives people like 10 seconds if he just doesn't like the fighter.
But yeah, so it says 47-47, but I imagine you had it like 49-47 or 49-46 sort of thing, or 48-47.
Yeah, I think I had...
Verdict had it at 48-46, I guess, or no, that's probably, they round up, don't they?
Honestly.
So 49-46.
It's so shit. Such a shit fight. And then Volkanovski, like probably just has the best featherweight of all time at this point. I don't know how you can really deny it.
See, I literally did what Tooth did. I gave the first 2 to Izzy, and then I went 10-9, 10-7, 10-7 to Cannonier for a 48-43.
Just because, like, of how
just
much...
because I don't like him.
Well, and also, it's just like... when you see Izzy just doing the same thing for 3 rounds, you're like, okay, I'm just not even giving you the credit.
Exactly.
You don't deserve it.
Brian Barberina knocking out Robbie Lawler. I really love that.
Lawler actually looked good at the start, and then just it was kind of just what I thought would happen. He just was old.
Yeah, and then we had Sean O'Malley claiming he beat Pedro Munoz in the first round. Sean O'Malley lost that first round.
Oh, yeah.
We both had it, and Verdict had it as well.
Yeah, good. That was another one, though, where I remember all the community were like, nah!
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. But we had Jalen Turner choking out Brad Riddell. 45 seconds.
This is great. This is Helwani 10-7.
Jim Miller, like, the only thing I wish was that Jim Miller...
Was that versus Cowboy?
Yeah. So, like, sending him into retirement.
Yeah.
The only thing I wish was that Miller knocked him out. But I guess...
I don't know. I'm fine with the submission.
Yeah. Ian Gary, again, putting on a snooze fest.
Andrikis defeated Brad Tavares. Fuck, yeah, this is easy.
Macy Barber defeating Jessica I. Tell me that was her retirement. Uriah Hall also losing on early prelims.
Yeah, no, that's clear.
I'd say, honestly, if that Pedro Munoz O'Malley fight had a decision... didn't end in a no contest and that main event was better, this would easily be top.
Oh, 100%.
There's a few things just holding it back there.
Yeah.
I swear, Adesanya always has the main cards, but just doesn't, it's always him.
It's always him that lets it down.
Yeah.
On to UFC 277 now.
This was so
This was Nunes versus Pena.
This was
2?
so...
It was 2, wasn't it? They haven't fought a first time. No. Years ago, no. This was a pretty hectic fight.
This was domination by Nunes in every aspect. I remember it was either the first 2 or 3 rounds, it was Pena getting dropped off every punch.
You and Tooth combined gave it 50-40 to Nunes.
10-8
10-9, 10-7, 10-8.5, 10-8, 10-8.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 50-40.
Well, the official scorecards were 50-45, 50-44, and 50-43, which I think that 50-43 is probably more accurate to what it was.
100%. There was definitely 2 10-8s in there.
Those first few rounds, it was literally...
It was 50-44.
She was getting lifted off her feet, by the shots she was getting hit with.
Just walking in.
And really, Nunes must... Well, I don't know what happened in that first fight. I do not know what happened.
She just wanted to let people think... something else was going to happen.
When you watch this one, you're like, you realise how shit Pena is, which I already knew, but watching this just confirmed it. And then, so it was her getting just sent off her feet for the first few rounds, and then it was Nunes just dominating her in the grappling, because I think she was like, yeah, I just want to show that I can actually just do whatever I want to her. And then, remember, it was
lots of submission attempts.
It would be like Pena throwing up, it would be like her grabbing the arm, and people like, oh my god, an armbar, come on.
DC.
And it's like, no, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And then
it's pretty much just has wrist control.
I don't know if it was the first thing brought up in the post-fight press conference, but I think it was when Dana was up there, and I think it was that UK one, the Aspinall jerk-off. You know the one I'm talking about. You know the guy.
Yeah.
The one who jerks off
from
the UK fighters.
MMA.
I don't know what he is. Yeah. But it was oh yeah.
It might be from the Mac Life, actually.
Nunes dominating the scorecards, but obviously the fight was actually a lot closer than that, and Dana was like, what are you talking and I remember I think people were saying that in the comments as well. People were like, oh no, it was actually a close fight, and I'm just like, what the fuck did you watch?
Yeah.
What the people thought just because of those submission attempts, which first of all, it's a submission attempt compared to ground and pound and top control. And they weren't even real submission attempts. They didn't even do anything. And these people actually get paid to cover the sport.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
I just don't want to talk about it anymore because I want to punch that guy.
Yeah.
But co-main event, Moreno versus Kiko France.
It was an okay fight.
Kick. It was pretty good. It was Moreno first 2 rounds showing the level, and then it was kind of as soon as Kiko France actually looked like he was in the fight, he got stopped.
Yeah.
Pavlovich early stoppage, but I mean after what we saw in his last fight, Lewis was out of there no matter what.
Exactly.
Pantoja defeat Perez, neck crank, that was good. Ankalaev, you love seeing Anthony
That was
Smith.
the murder of Anthony Smith, wasn't it?
I think he was injured or whatever.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, all I remember is him saying Ankalaev was a shit fighter and losing, just
and he also said the same thing about John Jones.
I was going to say, have you seen that?
John Jones
video of him saying that. John Jones isn't actually that good at anything.
But then he goes and disproves everything because he's like, he's like, once you combine everything, he's unstoppable. It's like, what are you actually just saying? That's what makes an MMA fighter.
And also verse him in a kickboxing match and see what happens.
Yeah, verse him in a wrestling. Fucking anything Anthony Smith loses. This is I'm not impressed by the performance, I think. When you think about, do we actually care about the main event? No.
Yeah, no.
Do we care about the co-main? No.
I mean, the main event was satisfying.
It was satisfying, but I don't give a shit about it. And it's not like it was an incredible fight.
I just wish Nunes had won in the first place so I didn't have to see Pena in a main event again.
Yeah.
But, I mean, can only dream. Next up, 278. Usman Edwards 2.
Greatest fight of all time. The day I almost killed my granddad.
Greatest comeback probably in the history of MMA.
I was watching this in the lounge. I'm sure I said this last time, but I was watching this in the lounge with my headphones on, and I was like crying.
Yeah.
And then he got knocked out. Usman got knocked out, and I just like. My granddad was doing the dishes. He got so fucked off.
Yeah.
Man,
for me, good. It's like when there's something like that, I'm like.
It's almost speechless.
Most of the time. I'm just like sat there in shock. For this one, I definitely was just sitting there, just like, what just happened? Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Especially because Leon like never really stopped anyone in the UFC.
Isn't it crazy though?
Yeah, to be Usman.
No, not even. But he technically got the first ever takedown.
Yeah.
On Usman, and it was so satisfying as well. When that happened in the first round, I was like, oh, this is it. Leon's winning. And then he got fucked up.
Well, that's what Usman was like. He was like, oh, like, yeah, it sucks he knocked me out, but honestly, just that takedown actually fucked me up anymore. But, yeah, obviously, like, just incredible scenes all round.
Good co-main as well.
Yeah,
Paulo Costa.
One of the weirdest fights I've probably ever seen, but it was just entertaining.
Very low IQ again.
Costa, like, I feel like this actually made him look shit.
It did, and he could have finished him quite a few times, I think.
The fact he was against old Rockhold, who
fucked up his leg or something.
Like, pretty much everyone thinks he's got no chin.
Yeah, exactly.
We've seen that.
Couldn't finish him.
Couldn't do it.
Merab.
Merab versus this was Aldo's retirement fight. I feel like Aldo gets no credit from the UFC.
He's boxing.
I don't think I know, but I just don't think he ever got any good credit from the UFC with anything.
I think the only time he got credit was when Habib said his legacy's not that good. Do you remember that? And everyone was like, well, look at Habib's legacy compared to Aldo's. Until
you were like 27-0, you didn't even fight like
anybody.
But yeah.
That's for another day.
I think this is is it even there? I don't even think it's there. Honestly, apart from the main event.
The moment of the main event puts it in God tier, but everything else is...
Honestly, I think it's...
performance.
Yeah, nah.
Overall average card.
Fuck, we definitely have been a lot harsher this time, haven't we?
Oh, 100%.
I think it's... But, like, it's like you're saying, it's like if I'm actually judging it purely based off my enjoyment, what I'd go back and rewatch and what I enjoyed seeing.
Yeah.
Like, this is a lot more accurate.
Well, actually,
it kind of makes me think what would even be in the bottom. Like, it just, like, what kind of card?
If we had... We'll pick a card at the end that I think we put in the bottom.
You know what? This could be it. UFC 270. UFC 279, this could honestly be it. We had Nate Diaz defeating Tony Ferguson. Just a terrible fight. I hate watching Nate Diaz fight.
When you compare what this card was compared to what happened, it's so shit. I would have loved to have seen D-Rod versus Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have seen Leach knock out Tony Ferguson. And then I would have loved to see Hamzat murder Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
And instead we got Leach getting robbed, which everybody can agree that was a robbery.
That was so shit.
What did I had it 29-28. You guys had it 29-26, but I feel like that's probably... And then, 29-28 again on verdicts. And then Kevin Holland lost in like 2 seconds.
That was just nothing.
I still hate the people that were like, he faked the touch glove. The glove touch.
You don't need to just keep
he could have gone and hugged him, separated 10 feet, and the same thing would have happened.
Yeah.
And about 10 seconds longer.
So I want to talk about Nate Diaz a bit more because this was his retirement fight, so it's going to be my chance. But one of the things that I've most disliked the entire time I've been watching the UFC is people's love for Nate Diaz. I started watching probably a bit after like that was a thing, so that might be one of the reasons why. But the thing I hate is everyone going like, oh, Nate Diaz, the realest fighter in the UFC, he's just thrown down everywhere, and like everyone who says it just make people would wear like the tap out shirts from the warehouse. Like it's just all those people who like think they can fight themselves. But like it's like people like saying, oh yeah, Nate Diaz like the realest guy in the UFC. It's like, how? Like he spends like half his career not even fighting
and complaining,
and just
if he did not get that win against Conor, he is a nobody.
Conor made his career because I'm literally going to say like everyone who like jerks off Nate to the extent they do, definitely the majority of them became fans after he choked out Conor.
If his last name isn't Diaz as well, like if he's not Nick's brother,
yeah,
who is he?
Like, no one talked about. Everyone's like, oh yeah,
straight
Nate
journeyman.
proving everyone that he like actually has a pay-per-view draw. It's like, no, like no one even gave him that credit until he beat Conor, and then everyone was like, oh, like, look at Nate, look what he can actually do.
I hate Jorge Masvidal with a passion, but for people to call Nate a journeyman and then say for people to call Jorge a journeyman and then say Nate's like a real motherfucker.
Yeah.
How?
I've gone into so many debates with people about Nate.
You just give up towards the end, eh?
Oh, yeah, like, because it's all so wrong. Because I remember I'm like, oh, you realise Nate, like, doesn't really actually have any good wins. Because remember, it's like people, like, what was like, oh, yeah, like, you still got Nate Diaz in the mix, like, ready to take all these guys on. I'm like, he's literally getting knocked out by anyone in the top 5. And, like...
Or I was watching the Nick Diaz interview, and he was, like, talking about how he didn't actually want to fight Robbie Lawler, how it made no sense. He should have just been given Kamaru.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wish the matchmakers were as delusional as you motherfuckers. That's one of the things.
It's like, they talk so much shit that's just so delusional and everything. And if it was anybody else, I'd just be getting rolled by the community. But because it's them. And they don't even fight either. Like, I know Nick was suspended and actually has, like, more credit to him, to his legacy, I'd say, than Nate. But, like, I remember just going up, like, comparing Nate to, like, actually, like, good fighters or whatever, like, whoever was at the top of the top, and like, I was like, oh, yeah, Nate's best wins is, like, Gray Maynard. Like, no, it is, though.
Yeah.
It's, like, his last few wins, it's, like, Tony, Pettis, Conor, and then before that was like, oh yeah, Michael Johnson was like decent.
Literally everybody
but, like,
has beaten.
People can beat. And then it was like before that was like Gray Maynard.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, you can't say that's a good one.
Yeah, this fight's going. This fight has the Doug Crosby scorecard, the first annual Doug Crosby scorecard of MMA pay-per-view.
There's nothing.
I mean, Johnny Walker submitted Ion Kutalaba,
but I don't like
and then gets fed to Paul Craig. I think that is hilarious.
Yeah.
But then we jump on a plane now over to Fight Island.
Yeah.
This was actually quite a good card.
This was a really good card.
I don't think it's top, because I think there's one more that's going to be top.
No.
But we had Islam Makhachev defeating Charles Oliveira.
Made me cry, but I mean, at the same time, like,
it just kind of proves... Like he hadn't fought anybody good, and now he's doing that to Charles.
Well, yeah, because I really wanted Charles to win, but at the same time, I was like, okay, finally, we actually know where Islam's at instead of having to be in the...
And at least he's going out and being an active champion straight away, fighting Volk. I saw someone say the other day, Dustin Poirier could be a good matchup for Islam, and I thought I would rather put a bullet through my head than...
What, do you not want to see Dustin get
Well, I would want to see Dustin get fucked up, but when people say, like, that sort of shit, I'm like, that's just dumb.
Well, the thing is, it's like, the amount of people, and obviously it's true now that Islam's won, but, like, everyone like, oh yeah, Islam's just going to smash everyone, like, Islam's so deserving, and it's like, no, he wasn't. Like, you don't beat Bobby. I don't even care if you have a massive win streak. If you're not beating contenders, I don't think you're deserving of a title shot. Mm-hmm. And, like, he was beating, like, Bobby Green and...
Dan Hooker.
Yeah. Like, I still don't even think he should have gotten a title shot off that, but then, I mean, he won. But still,
like, in hindsight, obviously.
Like, when you look at Tony Ferguson, the amount of shit he had to do and still didn't even get an actual proper title shot.
Yeah.
And then, like, that's clear just favouritism, in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah. We also had in the co-main Aljo fucking up TJ Dillashaw with a broken collarbone.
So satisfying.
Again, I feel like we've talked more about MMA fans than fights at this point, but the delusional people saying, oh, you only beat up a disabled TJ Dillashaw. Okay, cool. He fucked him up, and he would have fucked him up if TJ had 15 fully healed collarbones. I don't care what anyone says.
You see Dillashaw fighting Garner. It's what I really want.
I might go do that in UFC 4 when I get home.
But then we know O'Malley, and this was like the beginning of like the real like bad robbery. Not well, but there's probably
this is the worst.
But this was so prominent. I remember. Another one of those things, I think this was like the Gilbert Hamzat one, except I think the judges were in on it this time too.
Do you see, Henry Cejudo's tweet was fucking brilliant, where he said, Sean O'Malley tweeted him and he's like, go make me a burrito. Did you see that? And Cejudo was like, I'll make one and give it to Piotr Jan and the judges will give it to you.
Yeah.
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. This was, I'm sorry, I've
rewatched this like 3 or 4 times.
I really just don't get it. And everyone saying O'Malley, like, I don't.
It was a great fight though, don't get me wrong.
No. O'Malley, like, credit to him, did so much better than I thought he was going to, because we hadn't really seen him against anyone that good yet. And then, like, he actually showed that he actually can fight at the top level, and I'm sure, like, when he probably gets more experience fighting at that level, he'll probably just become even better. So
yeah, 100%.
But I just hated this decision. I think it was completely wrong.
But we also had one of my favourite fights of the year, Benil versus Gamrot.
Another real, like, this was just high level shit.
I missed this, and it wasn't until you were like, yeah, no, go rewatch that, and I've rewatched it 3 times since.
Yeah.
Just the level of grappling,
just
and
like the grappling. This was one of the prime examples of a fight with grappling that is just entertaining.
Yeah.
And it was actually like, what got fight of the night on this card? Oh, it would have been O'Malley Petian, right?
Yeah, 100%.
That was I loved that fight as well.
It was really good.
And then, I mean, yeah, whatever that woman's fight was, whatever. Bilal Muhammad stopping Sean Brady.
On the prelims, I forgot about that.
There's a good one for Bilal, actually getting a stoppage.
Yeah, credit to him.
And then...
This is a pretty good fight. Pretty good card.
Oh, I'd probably put it second. I'd put it
Hill 118.7.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that. This next one, straight away, I'm just going to put in God tier. This was the best pay-per-view card of the year.
I'm just rating. I'm rating through it.
UFC 281.
This honestly might be one of the best pay-per-views I've ever, like, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, but
Alex Pereira
watching from
defeated
top to bottom.
Israel Adesanya. TKO was losing that fight probably like 48. Well, yeah.
What did I have?
It was, you had it obviously 5th round. Nobody voted, but you would have had it 30.
Did I give Adesanya 10-8 for the grappling?
Oh no, you would have had it 39, and then it would have been 19, 29, 37. 39, 37.
Yeah.
Which sort of adds up. So you gave round 3 a 10-8. For the grappling.
Which is always debatable, like, when it comes to grappling, people are always like, oh, should it be a 10-8, should it not? Like, it's kind of just up to you, I reckon.
But yeah, as he got finished, I think we were probably the only ones cheering for Pereira.
Yeah.
Co-main, Whaley defeating Carla.
Like, this is just the most predictable decision ever. Most predictable fight.
Yeah, Dustin defeating Michael Chandler. Chandler could have done so much better there.
Chandler, he is so entertaining, but he's also the most frustrating fighter to watch.
Yes.
Because I want him to win so bad. And, like, every fight when he's winning, I'm like, yeah, okay, so when's he getting knocked out? Like, when's he getting some... Like, it's just every time he just can't sustain it, and it fucks me off. Yeah. Gutierrez ending Frankie Edgar's career.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Brutal knee. I don't think Frankie should have fought again after that last one, but he wanted to get slapped again, clearly, so good. Dan Hooker, this was like the weirdest fight I've ever seen. It was Claudio.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was literally like...
Go to the prelims.
It was like KSI vs Pineda.
It was awful.
Moicano, Brad Riddell, love to see it.
Yeah, that was good.
Submission. Ryan Spann, ending Reyes' career.
Yeah, fuck. This is just so clearly the best pay-per-view of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen.
One of the biggest drop-offs probably of all time with Dominic Reyes, like going from like
almost beating,
arguably beating John Jones,
yeah,
and then just getting brutally finished. Like, and this, I think, like, he can't fight again. Like, this is in a minute to Ryan Spann.
Yeah,
it was a jab. Like, you just can't fight again. Aaron Blanchfield, like, this was so good, dominating the crucifix. Yeah. This was so good. And then apart from that, I mean, we had a few good things. Like, there was a few more finishes on the prelims and early prelims, but yeah, no, just overall, this was easily card of the year. Yeah, one of the best cards I can remember in recent time. I think Adesanya redeemed himself a lot of my eyes in this as well, like with his performance. I think he was trying to actually prove a point against Pereira, especially, but I mean,
he got that after the bell shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's wrap it up.
282, Blachowicz vs Ankalaev. This was kind of a bit of a shit show, wasn't it?
This was, every single fight was a finish, was it not?
Except for the last two, which everyone, like I said, ruined the whole card. But, I mean, I think we should start from the bottom and work our way up to the juice on this one. Yeah. I'll start with Billy Corantillo defeating Alexander Hernandez by TKO in the early prelims.
Quickly go back to UFC 281?
Oh, yeah.
That was the one that I spent 7 hours in Kensington for.
But it was worth it.
100% worth it.
Corantillo stopping Hernandez, good.
Comeback.
Has Hernandez lost on every card on this list? I think so. Surely he's gone. Chris Curtis knocking out Buckley. Buckley he gets slept all the time at this point. Curtis, good on you. Shabazian finally, like, he was like this little prospect.
He was fighting a fucking juice head. Like, the guy that he was fighting What's his name?
Dolce Lungyambula.
Absolute bum.
Well, I guess they were trying to...
Yeah, they were 100% just building him up.
They had been having him against other contenders and they'd just been getting absolutely destroyed, so needed a bit of a step back there. Josino, he just got this out the way. Chris Stalkers, 20 seconds.
Chris Stalkers is a bum.
Just thanks for ending it quickly.
Yeah.
Another submission. It's Raul, whatever his name, 18.
Raul, how's that?
Face crank, good. My favourite fight, one of them of the year for sure, Elias Aporia defeating Bryce Mitchell.
Yes.
The amount... are we getting into the fans again? Are we getting... Do we have time? But yeah, I predict these things, as I always say about this, and everyone...
I think I had Elia by decision.
I think I had him by knockout in the first round.
Yeah.
Which he almost kind of did, but... So satisfying. Duplessis, how do you say it?
Dricus Duplessis.
Darren Till
is silent.
Darren, what more do you need? How's Darren Till still there?
Fuck, you must have got so much. Yeah, you and Tooth.
Yeah.
Got fucking 3,000 XP for that.
Yeah. Darren Till, is he retiring? What's going on?
Yeah. I mean, we originally had one of these tiers called Darren Till's ACL. Yeah. Because it is awful.
Well, let's have a look at him. So... he was 17-0 in 2018, an arguable win over Stephen Thompson in his hometown.
He didn't win that.
Got destroyed by Tyron Woodley in his title fight.
Understatement.
Got knocked out cold by Masvidal. Had a split decision win over Gastelum, which to be fair,
it was it
was a shit fight, but I thought Dantel did win, but
he did win, but it was not very impressive.
And then ever since then, just dominated by Whittaker Brunson, and now submitted again.
Whittaker, you can understand. Brunson at that point wasn't really Blonde Brunson. This is it. And then what was after that?
Santiago versus Morono.
Oh, okay, fucking.
It was a pretty decent fight to be fair, but it was Morono kind of. He was on there in short notice, looked good for the start, and then just kind of faded. And then with the co-main event, Paddy Pimblett, Jared Gordon.
The biggest robbery I've ever witnessed.
This is the biggest robbery I've ever seen, and I'll defend this being the biggest robbery in the history of the UFC, because every other robbery, people...
There has been some aspect where you could understand it, I
like to think of myself being, when it comes to a decision,
open-minded?
Trying to see it from both sides. Yeah. Usually people are no, it's this one side and nothing else. But, this was so clearly Gordon, whereas every other one where people are this is the biggest robbery of all time. It's usually so debatable. I'd say Gustafsson versus Jones is one of them. It's still so debatable. But this was just so clear. Pimblett... I had this 30-27. I just don't even think Pimblett did anything.
I didn't score it, but I also had it 30-27.
Pimblett he looked so shit in this fight just anyway, and this is not even against a contender, and they're trying to box this guy like he's the next big thing.
Ian Gary has more chance of being a top contender than Paddy Pimblett.
What division is Gary in?
Welter.
Damn.
Yeah, welterweight, I think.
Could have been a fight of the year right there. But.
What, Ian Gary versus fucking... Leon Edwards.
Light heavyweight main event.
This was not as bad as people said.
No.
It was quite... bless you. It was quite enjoyable.
What was it meant to be again? Glover.
No.
Yuri.
Yeah.
Would have been way better. This fight was nowhere near as bad as people said. The first few rounds when it was on the feet were good, I thought.
And even towards the end, it wasn't just like it was laying on top.
Yeah.
There were submissions being worked for. Dana White's just a little pussy bitch. Yeah. And I'll say it to his face. Just kidding. Give us a job, Dana.
But yeah, that was just... I feel like that was a draw, and there's definitely an argument for that. Because I feel like you could have given Jan those first 3 rounds and then chucked a 10-8 in the later 2. But
draw made sense.
I think I had Uncle Live, but I wasn't mad at a draw either. But that was it. Oh, we need to judge it still, don't we? Let me just get back up for a second there.
You're not bad. I think the last two definitely brought it down.
This was really entertaining. I honestly, I think it's the second top.
The Paddy Pimblett fight brought it down, actually.
It only brought it down because he won. If he'd I would have been perfectly fine. And even
the decision in the main event, I think it was not the decision being bad, but not having a champion.
Yeah,
that's kind of what
because it was for a vacant title when it was a draw. It's just
exactly. But that's 2022, man. What a great year for MMA.
Yeah.
Looking forward to 2023. Definitely a lot different
than when we did our first run of this. Because we had one run that wasn't as good, but I'm probably a bit more happy with this.
Oh, definitely. We've a lot more spread. We're a bit harsher.
Because sometimes I'm I feel like a dick kind of for just being way too harsh on these fighters. But then, like, honestly, it's just my opinion as a fan.
And overall, really like we're comparing like where the standards are. The best is Pereira versus Adesanya. The worst is Ferguson Diaz.
And this is overall card more so as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like those cards. And I think we've done it justice.
No, yeah.
But yeah, let us know in the comments. What did you think about MMA in 2022? What was your favourite pay-per-view? Favourite fight? Let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we're back a lot more. Heading into 2023, this is our year, motherfuckers. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Pay Paddy Pimblett.
Tricas Duplessis. Peace.
10-7.